Hello, folks. I am back, and this time I'm here to talk about some range craziness. I've been assigned as a range safety officer for the last couple of months, and these are some of the things that I've been seeing. And this is more of an informational and safety uh, situation I want to talk about, and it is to no fault of the shooters at all. And I want to bring this up here. I'm going to start with this barrel here. This is one of the barrels to one of my firearms. And what I've seen is a lot of squib loads lately. And that is when you fire from your firearm and the projectile gets stuck inside the barrel. A gentleman, an older gentleman, was shooting, and I forget what firearm it was, but he had roughly about three squib loads. Now the good part is he did not fire after he heard that distinct sound of a poof sound when the projectile got lodged in here. So what happens is when he pulled the trigger, the projectile goes through and it stops, and it's because it's lowly powdered, so therefore it won't go. On the good part, like I said, he did not fire the second shot. I wind up taking the barrel out two times and hammering the projectile, and then instructing him he cannot fire that firearm anymore. And it was because of the ammo. And I've mentioned in a previous video I did about poorly made ammo, and it's still out there, folks. Some of this ammo was not from a major manufacturer like the big companies, but the problem was that Squibload got there. So he eventually contacted the ammo company. We advised him not to shoot any more of the ammo, and he called them up, and miraculously they took that ammo and he had it shipped back, and then they shipped him new ammo at no cost. And I'm really surprised that happened, because a lot of companies don't want to take responsibility. So that was good for him. And just be careful of the ammo that's out there on the market. If you hear a weird sound, definitely stop firing, keep it at safe direction, and see if you have a barrel obstruction in there. Going to this firearm, a gentleman had a SIG P320, and it was the M18. Again, this is another ammo issue. The ammo that he literally bought the firearm in the shop, and he only was able to fire 16 rounds. And what happened was, when that bad ammo that got in there, it exploded, shooting the extractor out and cracking the frame. And it was determined that it was bad ammo. The guy sent the firearm to SIG, and SIG, with their warranty service, did replace the damaged extractor that was on the slide, and they safety inspected it. As far as the grip module, they gave him a minor charge for the grip module, because this is just basically plastic. I would like to have seen them replace the whole thing, but when you think about it, the firearm did its job. It protected the shooter, at least in this area here, from further injury. Now I'm going to talk to you about something that you would not believe in your wildest dreams that I came across on Sunday. I'm going to pull up my computer here and let you see what give you the background story. All right, there was a guy that came to the range, and he could not figure out why his firearm wasn't shooting. So I got onto the range, and you know how you rack the charging handle on an AR-15, and what was going on? It was not racking properly. So when I would put the shell case, when I would load up a magazine, what would happen is, and I took this apart on my AR-15 to try to demonstrate this. Hopefully I can get this right. As you see, this is the bolt carrier. The bolt carrier, as I put the magazine in, The bolt carrier only went this far. So I would hear a click, and that would be it. The customer said that's what happened as well, and I said, "Well, your bolt carrier is not fully forward." So I tried my best to get the bolt carrier to go forward. It wouldn't go, even though the round went in. The round went in. It went right into the chamber, but this is as far as the bolt carrier went. So therefore, the firing pin could not ignite it. Uh, so what I recommended him, he just bought that firearm, and what he did was he bought it from another store. I'm not mentioning the other firearm store that he bought it from. He bought it from that particular store. I told him to go back to that store to find out what's going on, because usually when you have a firearm from one store to the other, we don't like to get involved in another party's product, because we don't want to cause any what you would say violations, or violating of any type of their policy, and then they would blame us for the damage. So something got to me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I just asked a friend of mine, Eric. He works with us, and he is a SWAT trained firearms instructor, and he is also has also a little more skill in gunsmithing. So doing further examination, this is what he found. What you see here, this is his finger, and you want to know what this is? That's a zip tie. Usually some places will put a zip tie in their firearms for safety purposes, but have you ever seen a zip tie like that? So here is the actual zip tie. This zip tie is about a foot long. This is the actual zip tie that we took out of that firearm. Look at this thing. Now, I'm going to show you how the zip tie was placed in here. I'm using my own firearm. So the zip tie was all the way in here in the chamber, but it was so far up, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to fight to get that zip tie out of there. So it was so far up inside the chamber that the bolt, it was enough to cycle when he racked the charging handle, it was enough to go in probably this far, and the bullet went as far up here as well. But the problem was it kind of like stuck the projectile out. So that's why when you see the bolt carrier, when it's in, must have been pushed out, giving this effect here. So that's why, and the thing about it is I couldn't see it. So that is scary in itself. What if myself or the other shooter shot this, and then there was an explosion? I would have been injured, or the other party would have been injured. And mind you, he had a longer barrel. I believe his barrel was 16 inches. So this is a 10.5. But imagine if that shooter pulled the trigger, or I pulled the trigger, and you have an obstructed barrel, and there was an explosion like that. Can you say lawyer? So the reason why I want to point this out very good, is if it's a new firearm, please inspect it fully. Inspect it fully to make sure there's no obstructions or anything of that nature, so you will not get hurt or have any catastrophic injuries or anything that's going on. Please inspect and or clean that firearm prior to use. It says it in the manual of most firearms. They want you to clean and inspect. And unfortunately, this guy didn't clean and inspect. Well, he didn't inspect his firearm because he just bought it and he ran out from one store and came to our range. But he just be aware of that, especially if you have a new firearm. because you don't know what things could be in there. I found it absurd that it was in the barrel like this. Normally, when I see zip ties on any type of firearm, it's usually going to be in there like this, not down the barrel. So you never know these days. So that's all I have at this moment. I just wanted to give that safety notice, especially for our new shooters out there. So with that said, happy shooting, stay safe, hashtag 2A.